Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, Dawg Knight. All right, and let's stop the music. Hey everybody, welcome to the Morning Night Live with me, Marty, aka Dawg Knight, on the Dawg Knight channel. Hi, how is everyone doing today? Looks like we already got about 10 people here so far. That's a good start. That's usually how we start out the day. And since you are here already, I'm going to go ahead and give you the props. Good morning, Evil One, who gets the bell for being first. I wonder if you had time to get something to eat, though. I see you wrote something about that there. Good morning, Max Del Rio. Good morning, D.I. Freighter, Necrosol Collins, Grillin' Pirate Pete, and everyone else who's in the lurk mode. That's cool. Lurk away. I'm fine with that. However you're here, you're here. So hopefully now I keep getting one of these messages on my dashboard here saying, error, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience, and then the more info tab. What's the word? Oh, okay. The more info tab says, as such, viewers will experience buffering. I hope you don't experience buffering today. I got the speed cable in here today, so hopefully that doesn't happen. Anyway, good morning. I was kind of just, I'm looking over here at my screen, kind of what's showing up on Twitter here. And it seems to be a little bit of a quiet day, but I have plenty of stories to talk about. And the first one, and I kind of highlighted on my thumbnail, and the name of the stream today is Who Really Cares? Now, when I wrote that, in my head, I didn't plan on saying it that way. I planned on saying it as Who Really Cares? Because I'm under the impression that all these people who like to show how enlightened they are and how humble and how what's the word? Philanthropic. How great and I know the word. Virtue. How virtuous they are. They still miss the funk. You know what, Pete? You're right. You're absolutely right. We need some funk, and I'm gonna try it today. I haven't tried it. I've been wary about trying it, but today I think we need to have some funk, and so let's see how it goes. Now, y'all gotta plug your ears. I'm gonna put it on here. But what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to cover your ears for just a second, because I always have a hard time in fact, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna mute this for a second. Where's my desktop audio on? I'm gonna mute this for a second. Not me, of course. We're gonna get some funk going, because I just feel like it's Friday. It's Funky Friday. Okay, that's the best I do for funk. Let's see if we can throw some up here, though. Oh my goodness, that's cranking. Hang on, hold up. Now we're gonna have to work with the levels here, because that's kind of late. I don't want any laid back funk. I want something going. Hold up. You can't hear this yet anyway, but hold on. Okay, for some reason, I'm not feeling this. Hold up. Give me. I'm going to try this. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it right. Let me find something. All these dreamy and laid back, hopeful. No, I want happy. I want some. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. Now it's kind of quiet. Now y'all are going to have to help me out, because I don't know how loud this is in my background. So, now that I just turned the volume on, you should start hearing in a second. Let me know how that volume is, because I can certainly kick it down, kick it up, however we want to do. Hopefully that's a good a fairly good volume level. It's hard for me to tell. So you, as soon as you can, let me know in the chat. All right. If it's too loud, I'll fix it. But all right, let's keep going here. And oh, good, the stream's still working. All right. So what was I saying? Oh, so about the idea of who really cares. Up a hair more. Thank you, Pete, for letting me know. I'm like I said, I've got to. It's tricky adjusting this level because I can do it on here, but then that changes my entire desktop audio. So hang on. All right, now tell me if that's a little better. I'm trying to turn it up without blowing out your ears. All right, and then I need to turn my personal volume down a little bit. Is that better? I hope so, because it's always good to have some funk in the background. All right. It's been a while since I've done this. All right, now, so anyway, let's go into the topic, the first topic of the day, and that's who really cares? That's the question, because I went on the old internets last night trying to do a little prep for the show today, and I got to this. On one of my favorite blogs, the Ace of Spades blog. I highly recommend it. Trump supporters volunteer their time and clean up trash-filled, rat-infested Baltimore. Baltimore media and Democrats very, very angry that they cleaned up their shithole. That's not exactly right, but so listen to this article from the Baltimore Sun, because this really kind of pissed me off. Hello, W.R. Costin. Nice to see you. And I don't know who. Rolling Bear, how you doing? All right, so let's move up. So let's read this. This is the. So all these people. So this guy, what's his name? Hold on. Okay, so this guy, Eric Pressler. No, not Eric Pressler. What's his name? Scott Pressler. Anyway, yesterday Jazz wrote about the Baltimore cleanup effort put together by Trump supporter Scott Pressler. After the public spat between Trump and Representative Elijah Cummings, Pressler wanted to genuinely do something positive. So he gathered somewhere between 200 and 300 people to clean up trash, cut lawns, and make things look better. He posted before and after photos of the effort on Twitter. That led to a snarky editorial from the Baltimore Sun, which veered between admitting the cleanup was needed and blaming Pressler for sending the wrong message. I'll be damned. You can't win for trying. So here's this Baltimore Sun editorial. And this is the longest headline I've ever seen. We assume it was pure motives that led a Trump supporter to launch a cleanup in Cummings district. Right? Wow, that's fascinating. So then they got a nice picture of people doing cleanup. It made for good photos, compelling videos, and catchy Twitter hashtags. A group of conservatives rolled their pickups into one of West Baltimore's most impoverished neighborhoods Monday for a cleanup day. Loaded down with trash bags and shovels, they cleared alleyways of old tires, food containers, paper, and other debris. They pulled up weeds and cut away overgrown grass. The group posted before and after pictures on social media showing their progress. The effort was designed by pro-Trump activist Scott Pressler. He claimed the event was not political. Yes, he was inspired to come by tweets from President Donald Trump describing the area represented by U.S. Representative Elijah Cummings as a rodent-infested mess. But the visit wasn't about showing support or animosity for either man, he said. Call us skeptical. Now, let me, you know what? Okay, so, okay, just whatever. Continuing. Look, We appreciate anyone who's willing to roll up their sleeves to help Baltimore. More than 170 people came from all over the country and cleaned up nearly 12 tons of trash, according to Mr. Press's Twitter feed. He doesn't post any photos of the totality of the trash, so we'll have to take his word for it. Really? Really? Because I saw pictures of the dumpsters. They had these, the biggest dumpsters you can buy. They have to haul them off on a truck. And I know they filled 3 of them. So it had to be a lot of trash. But if this was all about Americans helping Americans, why all the videos of Baltimore residents thanking Mr. Trump for bringing attention to the issue? Because none of you went down there to interview Baltimore residents thanking Mr. Trump for bringing attention to the issue. See, you, Baltimore Sun, were too busy saying Orange Man bad. Okay? And these are just some people who came down there to help. Now, you know what? Because it's funny. Saw a whole bunch of people come into Baltimore or talk about Baltimore after those Trump tweets. Lots of people on Twitter were talking about it. Lots of politicians, a lot of Congress people were talking about it. A lot of people. In fact, Al Sharpton came to Baltimore, got in front of a microphone, talked about how, Trump was disrespecting the fine people of Baltimore, made his little speech in front of all the cameras, and then what did Mr. Sharpton do? Well, he left because he's a grievance grifter. He's trying to raise money off of this. What did the Trump supporter do? Scott Presler. Well, Scott Presler said, you know what? We talk a big game, but how about we put our muscle where our mouth is? That didn't sound right. But anyway, let's go actually do something. And he said, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do something. Let's actually help some people instead of just talking about it. And that's what he did. And why isn't anyone... Did you see Flecka's video of this? No, but you know what? I think we'll watch it here on the show today. Why didn't Al Sharpton gather some people around and say, you know what? Hey, this is pretty bad. Let's clean this up. And certainly, and the other great thing is Presler, not only did these volunteers come in, but the people who lived in the area said, you know what? Hey, they're willing to come out and help us. We're going to come out and help do this for ourselves. And they did. So they had all these people cleaning up these areas that were just awful. Hang on here now. Mr. Presler tweeted that volunteers... Mr. Presler tweeted that volunteers found the striking... now, here they're saying, the strikingly unyellowed... then there's the photo of a Washington Post front page from the day that President Barack Obama was first elected. Mr. Presler tweeted that volunteers found the strikingly unyellowed, decade-old newspaper among the trash. They're trying to make the claim that maybe it was a plant. Mr. Presler tweeted that volunteers found the strikingly unyellowed in the trash. Obama makes history. U.S. decisively elects first black president. The headline reads on the page. It's been 11 years, Mr. Presler tweeted in what reads as a not so subtle critique of how much good Mr. Obama did for Baltimore. So here it is. Yeah, it's, you know what? Unless that paper's in the sun, it's not going to yellow. You put a newspaper in a drawer and it won't yellow very much. Or if it's in a pile of trash covered up, probably won't turn yellow. Okay, so light makes those newspapers turn yellow. Whatever he says his motives were, Mr. Presler's presence in Baltimore reinforces the tired image of our failing urban cores. Tired image? How about the tired reality? How about the tired truth of the failing inner cores that apparently your city couldn't do anything about? That the poor people in this dilapidated city can't take care of their own neighborhoods, I think is evidence, not a tired image. And all the public officials around them has failed as well. Do you think maybe you're feeling a little guilty right now, Baltimore Sun? The bureaucratic, all-talk Democrats strike again. Yep. If a crowd of volunteers could clean up 12 tons of trash in 12 hours, how incompetent and helpless must Baltimore be if they can't manage it in decades, right? Yeah. But that's not... It's funny. Pressler never made any statements of a sort. He just came to help, and he was very humble about it. Amazingly enough, Mr. Pressler's not the first one to come up with the bright idea of a neighborhood cleanup. Oh, this is such a cringy article or editorial, whatever the fuck this is. You're right. Mr. Pressler's not the first one to come up with the bright idea of a neighborhood cleanup. Except in West Baltimore. It is not really that remarkable of a concept. You're right, it's not. And it's amazing no one in Baltimore thought of it beforehand. In fact, they happen all the time, but not in West Baltimore. Sadly, it does not take long for people, frequently from outside the community, to refill the alleyways with illegal dumping and for grass to grow again in front of vacant buildings with no resident available to tend the lawn. Does Mr. Pressler know that drug dealers use trash to hide their product and have been known to threaten people who try to clean it up? The solutions are not that simple. Well, Baltimore Sun, maybe, just maybe, you could write an editorial about that too. And maybe, just maybe, someone who lives in Baltimore could address those problems. Perhaps the city government, perhaps civic leaders, perhaps people who come in the city to grift on grievances. Al Sharpton. Or perhaps it could someone who's I know, maybe the U.S. congressman from the district could inspire people. But apparently the people in West Baltimore don't see much of Elijah Cummings. He spends most of his time in the other part of his district that's a little more, let's just say, less run down. You know, near his $1 million house. The silver lining in all this is that the residents of West Baltimore did get a much-needed cleaning up. The silver lining. How about that's the gold-plated lining? Okay, that's the meat in the meal. Okay, that's the protein. Okay, and your little carbohydrates that just wash away don't mean shit. That is something that they deserve. The streets and alleyway free of trash go a long way in improving the psyche of a neighborhood and its residents, not to mention deterring crime. Mr. Pressler says that people around the country are planning similar cleanup events in their own communities. A loud round of applause for that as well. Hey! You finally gave it. It took you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paragraphs to give a loud round of applause for that. That's amazing. 8 paragraphs into this article, you actually said something nice about Scott Pressler. Or what's his name? Scott Pressler? Whatever his name is. A loud round of applause for that as well. Spiffier neighborhoods are good for everyone. Yes, they are. And hopefully the people in the neighborhood are inspired too, because a lot of them came out to help and a lot of them came out to do it themselves. And maybe they can start inspiring each other. We hope Mr. Pressler keeps his promise to return to Baltimore once a month. It would definitely give his motives more credibility. He doesn't need your seal of approval for his credibility. He came and did the work. He's the one who, in fact, the city wasn't even giving permits for those dumpsters. Apparently they wouldn't. They refused them. But somehow he found a way to get around it anyway and got them onto some private property. So, yeah, his credibility is just fine right now, Baltimore Sun. Your credibility for writing this dreck is what is suspect. It might even give him better perspective about the city's problems than any single visit can provide. Well, you know what? You know who might be an expert? An absolute expert on the city's problems that could probably inspire the city even more? Oh, the city's main newspaper, aka the Baltimore Sun. Maybe that's your job to have a better perspective on the city's problems and help inspire people to fix it. Maybe it could even lead him and his followers to advocate for federal housing, healthcare, transportation, education, criminal justice, civil rights, and anti-poverty policies aimed at urban communities. Wait a minute! Wasn't this whole... What did you say earlier in this article? What was the line? Hold on. I'm going to find this line he said. I'm going to find it here because the line that this Mr. Pressler's presence in Baltimore reinforces the tired image of our failing urban cores, that the poor people in this dilapidated city can't take care of their own neighborhoods, and all the public officials around them have failed as well. Huh. And you finish with, maybe it could even lead him and his fellow to advocate for federal housing, healthcare, transportation, education, criminal justice, civil rights, anti-poverty policies aimed at urban communities. You just said earlier in this article that it makes it seem like that these people can't help themselves. They can't do things for themselves. But then you're finished with how many things you think the government should do for them. Oh, Baltimore Sun, do you think maybe the government doesn't think that they can fend for themselves? That sounds like what you're saying at the end here. Advocate for federal housing, healthcare. Oh, make up your mind. And they finish with this. In the meantime, we'll see how clean the neighborhood still is when he returns in September. You are the paper of record in the city of Baltimore. Okay? Maybe you can inspire them to keep it up. Maybe you could organize people to help these people. You live there. Why does the outsider have to do that for you? It's freaking embarrassing. Now, there is one highlighted comment from the Baltimore Sun that someone who wasn't really happy with their article, and this is I think it must have been a letter from the editor, a letter to the editor. Excuse me. Please retract your negative comments about the group who came in to help clean up neighborhoods where your readership is living in filth on August 6th. They were there to help. Perhaps if your paper had begun a campaign of its own, this wouldn't have been necessary, but your residents welcomed them. Accept help when needed, sometimes needed to do it, and it's far from being completed. Someone named Debbie Burrows. So, hey, I'm going to give Trump credit for bringing some attention to Baltimore and that some of his supporters came in to help. All these... Oh, are these the racist, white supremacist Trump supporters you guys have all been talking about? Just saying. The reparations coffee tastes so good today. By the way, good morning, Maniac Man, MC, Sarah. Oh, did I miss the hammer time though? Hammer time? Uh-oh. I don't know why I like doing that so much. I just think it's funny, and I'm probably the only one. So let's what else we got today? Let's check this out. By the way, here's shill time. I'm gonna make a commercial because it's easier to just have a commercial come out because I always feel weird shilling. But you got to do it sometimes. Thank you for being here on the Morning Night Live this morning. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. GMT. And if you'd like to support the show, because you are the sponsors of the show, right down below here, the share arrow. You can share the show out on your favorite social media. You can hit the like button. Interaction is always great. And if you want to do super chats during the show, we do those through the Streamlabs links, which is in the description down below. It'll show up in the chat every once in a while also. Then we also do donations through that same link when we're not on the air. So moving on, just a real quick check. I want to make sure that this music level is still okay. So let me know if the music level is okay. Just throw an okay into the chat. That will help me out. If he needs to go up or down, let me know. And there's the link for the Streamlabs super chats. All right, moving on. I got quite a few notifications on my Twitter. Thank you so much, Necrosol, Rolling Bear, and Evil One for first Rolling Bear and Necrosol for tweeting out the show today. And also I got here we go. Thank you for the link to the Baltimore Fleckus Talks video. You know what? Let's do this. Let's watch this one because here, I'm gonna try to get this open here. Try to open it in YouTube. All right, so let's just take a look. How long is this? It's 9 minutes. I don't care. We're gonna watch the whole damn thing. I'm gonna turn the music down just for a second here. As soon as I figure out where the music link is here. Let's see. I'm gonna pause that music. Let's watch Flecka's video now. I'm hoping that he doesn't get. Oh, what's that? Oh, I didn't know I had that one open. All right, let's check out Flecka's video. Because one, I think he deserves to be seen. I like Fleckus. He does a lot of good work, and he already has 417,000 views on it. So my one sharing the video probably won't piss him off too bad. But anyway, this whole clip, I think this is fantastic. Not sure why, but music got a little louder. Needs to be turned down a bit. Okay, it just goes from song to song sometimes, so I will turn it down when we turn it back on. But let's check out Flecka's video on Baltimore. I'll try to put a little commentary in there here and there too. So here we go.
So how long have you been living here?
West Baltimore, my whole life.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Born and raised, and I'm now 35.
Okay.
So I've never lived east. I just have friends and family who live east. Times have just changed over the years. East Baltimore used to be the place where we wouldn't go. Now it's West Baltimore, but I live there, unfortunately. So,
now, how about that? I mean, she lives there and qualifies it with unfortunately. Also notice she's open carrying. That's fascinating.
That's just how things is.
It's just sad, man. Like, every day I'm crying inside, man, because I wake up and I'm still here, man. You know? It used to be okay, but it's not now.
So, notice what he just said there, too. I'm crying, man, because I'm still here. What was it that Trump said in that tweet that everyone got pissed off about? He said a couple things. One of those things was no human being would want to live there. This guy seems to concur with that. I'm crying inside because I'm still here. Don't want to be here.
Nah.
You can't go home without feeling like a target, or you don't know if somebody's going to run in your house. You're at work, you can be shot. You can go to church, the movies. I mean, it's happening all over the world. It's just the dynamics has changed so much. You just scared to walk anywhere. I mean, I barely party anymore. I don't want to hang out past a certain time anymore. It's just like the violence is that bad.
There are cameras around here, but people don't care. I've seen this guy rob right here in front of me. The customer went out of the door.
I just realized that too, Dawg. She's a Rent-A-Cop or a security person, but she's open carrying in Baltimore. I mean, I think you can open carry in Maryland. You can't. There's no concealed carry, I don't think, but I know you can open carry there.
And this guy, he just opened the door for him and put a gun on his head. And he robbed him right in his car.
And that happens all the time here?
Yeah, of course, it's normal.
Baltimore City is definitely Murderland. Definitely Murderland.
Murderland.
Yes.
It's a strong
Be
statement.
more. Yes, Murderland. It's contracts out here for less than nothing to kill somebody for $100. The statement is definitely true. I got my gun permit 8 years ago. And you really have to feel some type of way that you have to be armed to live in Baltimore City. Granted, mine is legal. It's just sad that it's come to this.
I feel as though nobody cares about this section of the community. These kinds of things don't happen in other areas such as Canton, Fells, they don't happen. But in these areas where nobody cares, where we can make the loudest complaints that we can possibly make and still not get any resolution, I feel that they don't care about the area here. They're not concerned about us.
If you love Baltimore, like so many people on Twitter, I've seen pictures of Inner Harbor. Baltimore is not just Inner Harbor. Baltimore is everything.
Yeah, Inner Harbor. They all the pictures. When Trump tweeted about this, and all the blue check marks were out there showing their vacation photos of Baltimore, showing the Inner Harbor, showing the beautiful libraries, the campuses. But they weren't showing their pictures of when they went and visited West Baltimore. That's because West Baltimore gets neglected. And so when people come to help and then they get treated the way the Baltimore Sun treated them, that's amazing.
You see around you, it's the people, it's the culture, but it's also the blight, it's also the corruption, it's also, it's over and over and over of the same people getting elected, promising to do the next thing, but it never happens.
Elijah Cummings, he's been there for 25 years. 25 years. He allocates $4.6 billion for illegal immigrants, but he hasn't donated any money right for North Avenue, Gold Street,
West
Bruce
Baltimore.
Street, West Baltimore. Where's he been
Baltimore.
at? It's drugs infested. It's homeless people right there in West Baltimore, 2 blocks from his district. He don't come there every day. He does. I haven't seen Elijah Cummings in 10 years right up and down North Avenue.
I haven't seen Elijah Cummings for 10 years, except Elijah Cummings came there. I think he says it here. Elijah Cummings showed up during the Freddie Gray protest, trying to calm things down, and they ran his ass off the street.
Last time he been there was when the riots from Freddie Gray.
People who's trying to do things, to implement things, to make a change, and then you have people who's all talk. Right now, to me, everything is talk. I'm not seeing anything into motion far as getting these guns off the street, getting these kids who's out here, like it's summertime, no summer camps, no basketball leagues, nothing for these kids to do. So they don't have anything to do but run around Baltimore City and cause trouble.
How do you feel about the president's comments?
Me personally, I want him to say things like that because it's true.
There's been a lot in the news lately about Baltimore. The president's been tweeting. Some folks in Congress have been saying a lot about it. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the coverage? What do you think about what's being said?
It's sad, but it's true.
Do you think the president was right or wrong to highlight it?
Well, I don't want to make a comment on the president, but I mean, he has a point.
Yeah, anyone who lives there can tell you he has a point. And that's the thing. I've seen lots of people who don't live there complaining about it being racist and all this other shit. And the people who are in the city government of Baltimore, they, same thing. He's just racist. That white supremacist racist. White man is this. But the people who live in the area, now I don't know. I'm still waiting to see some, because I watched videos from different people, and I still haven't seen anyone from the area who lives there say he was wrong, even though they don't like him. Like it's sad, but it's true.
Because crime is very high, and something has to be done.
So when Trump says no human being would want to live
That's
there.
true. I moved out of there. I can take you right now where there's no running water right now in a whole block. 10 minutes away from Elijah Cummings' house.
Well, with President Trump, I'm still Team Obama. With that being said, he's a powerful man, and I believe he can make a lot of changes happen.
As far as Trump, I don't have no problems with the man. I really respect him. him as a man because he upfront, he truthful, you know what I mean? And it's just sad, man. They want to keep trying to say he a racist, he a racist, he a racist. That's not the problem, you know, especially with black people, because I don't see white men killing my own kind, you know what I mean?
He attacks. Yeah, so, and that's just it. You know, they bring up this, the white supremacist thing. Okay. Yeah, this one asshole kills a bunch of people down in El Paso, and they're going to talk about him over and over and over. But again, the leading cause of death of young black men is homicide by other young black men. I mean, that's the leading cause of death. The leading cause of death. Not disease, not car accidents, not anything else. But more than, it was like, I have to go back and look at the chart. I thought it was over 60%. 60% of the deaths of young black men. Homicide. And part of it also your environment, you know, the despair you have from having an environment that looks like shit, I'm sure is part of the psychology of that. So, you know, someone coming in there and cleaning up that area probably does a lot just for the psyche of the people who live around there, you know? And also I got a feeling too, you know, it's funny, no matter how many times CNN says, you know, how many times Don Lemon says Trump is a racist, or, you know, people talking about this, he shouts out to white nationalists. Well, tell me the policy that proves that he is a white nationalist, that he's, you know, that he's only cares about one race or anything like that. Because a lot of things he's doing, even though they don't talk about him, but I see him because I try to keep track of what actually happens. What are the actual things that they do, and what are the actual results of the things they do? And, you know, why would he take a prison reform if, why would he take a prison reform if he's a white nationalist, if he's a racist? Because the prison reform, the results of that action helps a lot more black people than anybody else. So it's fascinating. If he is if he's a racist, if his motivation for things that he does as president of the United States are motivated by race, and it's because he's a racist, that's what motivates him as the president of the United States. He might be the worst racist on the planet. Because why would you do, you know, economic opportunity zones, which are mostly in poor areas that have more minorities than, you know, than the majority population? Why would you do prison reform that helps more black people than anybody else? Is it just a show, or did he just say, you know what, these are the things someone's asking me to do, and that's what I'm doing, regardless of who it helps? Now we have to listen to, we're going to listen to King Jackass here. I'll just go back a little bit.
You know what I mean?
He attacks Nancy Pelosi, he attacks Chuck Schumer, he attacks other whites, but he never said that their districts or their states are places that no human being wants to live.
Hey, guess what? Those people in West Baltimore, the people in West Baltimore that he was talking about, they don't want to live there. They don't want to live there. They feel like they're stuck there. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing.
The fact of the matter is, Elijah Cummings' district is the most well-educated and middle-class aspiring district of blacks in this country.
Oh, wait a minute now. Remember how Elijah Cummings' district is also one of the most gerrymandered districts in the country. So the part of his district that is the most middle class, highest, education achievement or rate, whatever, for black people is the other side of his district that's nowhere near West Baltimore. There's a little sliver that connects them in his district. His district's gerrymandered so he can get the votes from West Baltimore to make sure that he stays in Congress for 30 years like he's been. So don't give me that nonsense.
And he doesn't even know what he's talking about. Elijah Cummings is a respected and well-regarded member of Congress.
You go back to New York. Take that.
Fascinating. Yes, he's respected because he's been in Congress so long. And he's one of those entrenched politicians that you just say he's respect because they keep putting him back in Congress. Doesn't mean the people in the West Baltimore respect him. They haven't even seen him. What are you talking about? You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, so all these highly educated people want to live in trash. Well, that's just it. It's not, his district again is so gerrymandered. I mean, it's like it looks like a really bad puzzle piece. That one puzzle piece that they just couldn't figure out how to cut it out, so they just left it in one piece, and it's kind of all jacked up. So yeah, half his district is well off. And half his district is West Baltimore because they gerrymandered the district so that he would be able to remain in Congress for as long as he has. And in fact, the recent gerrymandering suit that the Supreme Court, they rejected it. I can't remember, but they said the states can draw their own districts. One of the states being sued, it wasn't all Republican states. One of the states being sued in that lawsuit was the state of Maryland because they have some really jacked up congressional districts that are clearly designed to keep some Democrats in power. And so they, the court also, it's funny because gerrymandering is the favorite term people like to use when they say, well, the only reason Trump's president is because of gerrymandering, not realizing that the presidential election, gerrymandering doesn't do anything to affect the presidential election. It's strictly congressional districts and maybe state legislature districts. But gerrymandering it doesn't affect the Senate either. Some people say, "Oh, the only reason Ted Cruz won Texas over Beto O'Rourke because all the gerrymandering." No, sorry, statewide office, entire state, you don't have. Congressional districts have nothing to do with the Senate race, have nothing to do with the presidential race. Anyway, let's move on. A couple people aren't happy. This next guy is not happy that Al Sharpton's in town, by the way.
Go back to New York. Take that to New York. You ain't getting up in Baltimore. I ain't no big trouble. Hey, you a phony.
He's up there talking. While Sharpton's talking, he's getting heckled by this man. Good for this guy. Good for this man. Good for this.
Don't try to get our children no jobs. Our schools are failing us. Where are you when our schools are failing? You're just a hustler out of town and go back where you came from.
Why don't you go back where you came from?
I live here and I was born here, sir.
I pray for my city every day. I pray for myself, my family, my friends.
Yeah. What did he accomplish by holding his little National Action Network meeting in Baltimore? Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing.
Because it can be a better Baltimore. Right now, I wouldn't even visit here if I didn't live here. But when is it going to stop? When is somebody going to get a hold of what's going on in the city?
What I really
President Trump brought attention to the entire nation about some of the problems going on here in Baltimore. So instead of people doing a lot of talking and complaining and whining, I decided let's do something about it. Let's actually try to solve some of these problems. So I put out a tweet on Twitter and I said, I'm coming to Baltimore to help clean up trash. I don't care if it's me standing alone on a street corner. And I never expected that tweet to go viral.
You know, I wanted to come down because I hate being on Twitter and complaining about it. I wanted to show that we can do something about it and calm down. A lot of people need to just come down from the suburbs and help instead of, you know, thinking they know what's going on. They need to come down and see it for themselves, really.
Too much of the city has been ignored. Anything from trash to the homeless. You see it everywhere, and people drive by instead of stopping and helping. So that's why I'm here to help.
So how did you hear about it?
How to hear about it?
Yeah.
Well, I help with the homeless normally, but I saw Scott's message on Twitter saying he was coming out. He's putting his actions where his mouth is, and that's what we need.
I never expected people.
Yeah, a lot of difference between this kid, Scott Pressler, and Al Sharpton, huh? Look at the difference. Look at the difference. Al comes in, big press conference, bunch of microphones, you know, city leaders around him, do nothing city leaders. And then this young 20-year-old dude, I think he's 20 years old, 20, 21. He's a young kid. All he does is throws a tweet, says, hey, I'm going to come clean up. Y'all want to come help? Join me. And, you know what? I'm really glad that no harm came to these guys while they were doing this. You know, I think the people who live there really appreciated and joined in on the whole thing. So here we go.
To be here today, not only from West Baltimore and Maryland, but also Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, Florida, New Hampshire, Utah. The nation came together out of an act of love to help us today in this Baltimore cleanup. We've had, I want to say, 200 volunteers come out because we started at 8 a.m. and now it's getting on, I think, 7 p.m. And it's been a steady flow, literally, throughout the entire day. We had to order 3.
Look at that dumpster. They had 3 of those dumpsters like that. That's a huge dumpster. I don't know if you had a construction project at your house, but that is a huge dumpster.
30-yard, 3-ton dumpsters. All 3 of them were packed to the brim. So my friend who's a contractor said, Scott, we probably picked up over 12 tons of trash today just in the short amount of time we've been here.
I'm excited about the work that Scott and them have come to do, even though I believe the city needs to get involved in our neighborhood when we make complaints as constituents here. We shouldn't have to have people come from other states to clean our communities where we're already asking for help from our city officials.
You know, the sad thing too is, like, you know, because there was so much trash in that area, it was a magnet for people who just wanted to dump things wherever they wanted to. You know, people would just you know, like they said, I saw another video where the guy said, you know what, yeah, people, you'll see someone with a truck full of garbage, you know that somewhere it's going to end up sitting in one of our corners or in one of our alleys because people just use this as a dumping ground. And so a lot of times when you clean up an area like this, people aren't going to dump stuff where there's not already stuff, you know? So anyway.
I want to make it very clear, although we're here today on August 5th, this is not going to be the last time that you see us. We are working with locals, not only that live here, but in the community that saw us picking up trash. And we talked and listened to them. They're going to help us in the future as well.
We love Baltimore!
All right, so that's a great video from Fleckus.
I've been threatened by guys at the gas station, like, oh, I'd take that gun off your hip. You know, certain things like that, but I can pretty much handle myself.
Good, shoot their ass. So anyway, so yeah, that kind of puts that Baltimore Sun nonsense in perspective. I mean, you can talk or you can help, and clearly, Al Sharpton can talk, but what did he do to help? You know what would have been really, really impressive if Al Sharpton would have heard about the cleanup effort and got some of his people that he, you know, got to come out and run their mouths. If he'd gotten some of them to help too, wouldn't that have been amazing? Now that would have been impressive. That would have been one of those, you know, bipartisan efforts, you know. But Yeah, go over. By the way, go over and give Fleckus a like on that. If you scroll back up in the chat, there's a link to that video. Go give him a like. He deserves. Fleckus. If you ever watch the Arthur's videos, Fleckus talks. Usually he's sometimes he's a little silly, even though he goes out and interviews people on the street. But I think this was a really good picture of what the effort was, and I see you there. How you check your logic, Bencalo. X Bubba Hotep, how you doing? Who else came in while I was talking? Captain Brambles, Cynical Lindsay, Longfish. I am so glad that you are all here. Welcome to the show on August 9th, 2019. I'm so glad you guys are here. All right, let's get into some other things. I bookmarked a whole bunch of stuff on Twitter over the last couple days, and because I do have my normal headlines from Ace of Spades blog, but I also some things that are just popping up out of here. One of the ones, this one kind of cracked me up. Hey, Johnny Hellcat, how you doing? One of the things that popped up on Twitter, former acting FBI director Andrew McCabe is suing the Justice Department and the FBI over his firing last spring, alleging that the move was politically motivated. And I saw this. I found this fascinating that all of a sudden we have another IG report coming out in probably September. Also, we have John Durham, the special U.S. attorney, special prosecutor, whatever, who's been looking into the origins of the entire Russia, the entire Russian narrative. Oops, what did I do there? By the way, I don't know. The G Prime Candor, thank you for putting out the show on tweet. I think that's what it says. Anyway, all of a sudden, Peter Strzok sues for his what did he say? What does he call it? Improper firing, whatever you call it. And then so Andrew McCabe's doing the same thing. And I gotta think that the timing of these two things, with the with the Inspector General report coming out, and also John Durham, the special prosecutor, U.S. attorney, who is known for being able to do prosecutions against corruption within the FBI and the CIA, and he's won cases, and Attorney General Barr also looking into these items. I think these guys are getting nervous. I think they're trying to do a little preemptive strike here, because I think both Andrew McCabe is very likely to get indicted, or and same with Peter Strzok. Okay, there's certainly they know for a fact that McCabe has lied under oath. Well, let's put it this way: either he has lied under oath, or James Comey has lied under oath. Now, the reason I say that is because they have given conflicting testimony on some of the events around the whole Russiagate thing. And so I just thought it fascinating that let's go to the CNN story here. Andrew McCabe blames Trump for firing, sues Justice Department and FBI. Now, I'm just going to warn you, this is a CNN article, so you're probably not going to hear the other parts that, may be related to this, so just whatever. Oh, don't forget the funk. Thank you for reminding me. We'll turn that back on. I'm going to have to turn it down just a tiny bit, though, because we'll try that. All right. Thanks for reminding me, Pirate Pete. Where's that CNN article? Okay, here we go. Former acting FBI director Andrew McCabe is suing the Justice Department and FBI over his firing last spring and accusing President Donald Trump of politically retaliating against him. McCabe is asking a federal court in Washington to reinstate him as deputy director of the FBI so he can earn a full pension, which he was deprived of by being fired. He said Trump had constitutionally improper motives for removing him from government service. Now, here's the thing. Here, let's see if that's even in this article. I'll make my point if it's not in the article. He was dismissed hours before his retirement date following a report from the Justice Department Inspector General that concluded he improperly disclosed information to the media and lacked candor in interviews. Now, lacked candor with interviews with federal investigators. Lacked candor is lacked candor is FBI speak for lied. He lied in interviews with federal investigators, and he improperly disclosed information to the media, also known as leaking. He leaked information to the media. That was the point I was going to make. McCabe, who worked for the FBI for 2 decades and was a senior leader in 2016 through 2018, including after FBI Director James Comey's firing and the early days of the Mueller investigation, had become a target of Trump's heckling on Twitter. Trump had torn into McCabe's wife's Democratic political ties after she had run for state senate in Virginia in 2015. Notice how they don't mention what those political ties are. I'm looking ahead a little bit here. McCabe and his wife have maintained that some of Trump's accusations, especially about McCabe being ethically compromised by donations to her campaign, were false. So, I'm just a tiny little aside about that sentence. McCabe's wife was funded. This is another one of those connections that is just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. It's just a quinky-dink. McCabe's wife was funded by Terry McAuliffe. She got a huge campaign boost from Terry McAuliffe. Now, how many of you remember who Terry McAuliffe is? Terry McAuliffe. He's a Clinton crony. And it's just amazing how many people in this entire story, this entire saga, this entire conspiracy theory are tied to the Clintons. Just amazing. How does that happen? I don't even want to talk about the Clintons anymore. But you can't help it because they're connected to everyone in this clusterfuck. McCabe accuses Trump of threatening several top brass of the Justice Department, from former Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein to Inspector General Michael Horowitz to then Attorney General Jeff Sessions, as a way to induce their compliance with Trump's desires. Now, I thought Inspector General Mike Horowitz was completely outside of all those investigations. The Inspector General is completely, like, almost independent office. Unbelievable. The lawsuit says the fired agent who had worked on the Russia investigation. A fired FBI who had worked on the Russia investigation, Peter Strzok, also sued the Justice Department earlier this week over his own termination, saying Trump had pressed for his firing in 2018 for political reasons. Now, his lawsuit's even funnier. Let's get into his thing though. He has abs. Well, first of all, here's Peter Strzok's problem. Peter Strzok was also fired by the Mueller team for the improper use of the phones, the improper messages, the appearance of bias because of the back and forth text messages he used on his phone. He was having an affair with another person within the FBI, which is also against their rules. There's all kinds of things Peter Strzok should be fired for. Okay, using FBI issued phones to carry on his affair and personal communications with his lover, Lisa Page, who's also an FBI lawyer, saying Trump pressed for his firing in 2018 for political reasons. Well, first of all, remember who the ultimate head of the Justice Department, the Justice Department, the FBI are both in the executive branch, and who is number one in the executive branch? That would be the President of the United States. Now, Peter Strzok was also fired via recommendations from the Office of Professional Responsibility within the FBI, which is a department that deals with personnel issues. Same with Andrew McCabe. Okay, if Trump had pressured people to fire him, why did they not fire him until after it was recommended by the FBI Office of Professional Responsibility? Because they went by procedure. Now, here's the one point of contention that I've been reading about that may not be in this story. And I have the complaint. I pulled up the complaint. I have it right here. And so I might look at that later, and maybe I'll get into this a little deeper. One of his points of contention is that he had already retired and hadn't taken. He was basically just finally taking his PTO, his last PTO, and they fired him during that period. Someone was saying, well, he had retired. He finished his last day at 5 o'clock, and at 10 o'clock that night he got fired. I don't know how the details of that are. Obviously, based on the fact that he's still getting a pension. He's getting a hell of a pension. The FBI pensions are pretty nice, but he needed that one more day to get the maximum pension. That's what he needed. He needed that one extra day for the maximum pension. They fired him before the end of that particular day, so that he did not get his full FBI pension. Now, here's McCabe's real problem. Okay, he's filed this lawsuit against the FBI. But what may happen is the new Inspector General report that's going to come out is going to be talking about different things that were done wrong. But the Inspector General doesn't have any, doesn't have any charging powers. They can't charge you from things that come out of the Inspector General report. That stuff is just telling you what could have been done wrong, could make recommendations, but it has no charging power. On the other hand, John Durham, the special prosecutor appointed by Attorney General Barr, who is looking into all these things, absolutely has prosecutorial power, and he's already impaneled a grand jury. So, McCabe's problem and Strzok's problem, and probably the reason they filed these lawsuits now to get ahead of the ball, is because that ball is about to roll over both of them. Perhaps. I'm speculating. That ball is about to roll over both of them because I think they're both going to be charged when it comes down to the John Durham finding that these guys acted improperly. You know, all those people in the process crimes that got have some that made false statements or misstatements or whatever, made deals, because like if even well, all these people have made deals, Trump's team, guess what? All these FBI people have also made false statements. So, yeah, there we go. Yeah, oh, Sarah, yeah, I heard that Blair White got doxxed. Yeah, she's going to take a break from Twitter. She got fully doxxed. Name, address, the whole works. Like, truly doxxed. And so that's a concern. And you know what? For the first time, I think that I've seen... Well, I haven't seen it fully yet. I guess I'll go on Twitter and find out. But some of the lefty people who hate her are also saying that that's bullshit. But I think anyway. So anyway, that's Andrew McCabe. I wish I would have had that news yesterday because that would have been perfect for FTG Thursday. But cell phone and everything. Oh, their phone numbers and everything. Good God. Yeah, that's could be annoying because now, you're gonna need to change your cell phone number and all that stuff. All right. Hey, so I also saved a bunch of other things, and this is just I've been bookmarking a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, let's see. That was done. We did that one yesterday. Oh, I told you, Joaquin Castro outed some of his own donors. 6 of the donors that he outed on that list he put out, 6 of them were donors to his campaigns also. I got a feeling, you talk about, he's going to have full-on Trump curse on this one, I bet. I have a distinct feeling that Joaquin Castro may lose his congressional seat over this. I got a feeling that there's going to be voters in the San Antonio area that, and I don't know how safe his district is, but I think there's going to be people calling for him to be out of Congress. And I'm not saying necessarily he'll lose to a Republican, but I could see somebody primarying him, or some of his donors, or some of those donors that he outed. If I were them, I'd be starting a campaign to get rid of this guy, because that is the most unethical, rotten piece of shit move I've ever seen. And he knows it too. He cannot defend it. All right, now, this one I just put up here because I thought it was hilarious. If you're familiar with dog shows, now the only reason I used to train dogs, my dogs. And so one of my close friends actually shows her dogs, and we still sometimes go out and watch the dog show. And so when you go to a dog show, they have, and this is a obedience show, not a fluff Westminster type show, but this is an obedience show. They're not necessarily by breed; they're just by how well trained they are, and you go through these routines. And so in this next shot, I'll show you here. What happens is the person who's the judge tells you to sit your dog, and then you walk away, and the dog has to stay there while it's sitting, and they wait a few seconds, and then the judge will say, call your dog. And when you call your dog, if they're trained properly, if you call your dog is going to come, walk to you, and sit in front of you, facing you, until you tell them to heel. And then when you tell them to heel, or they tell them to come around, the dog is supposed to come and sit on your left side, facing the same direction you are. But before that, when you call your dog, come, the dog comes to you, sits in front of you, and just like that. So now, there's that. Watch what happens with this dog. And it's doing pretty good for the beginning. Okay, so here we go. She sat her dog, she's telling the dog to stay, and the dog's sitting there calmly. She's walking away with the leash. Now the judge tells her to walk away, and then you'll see the dog raise her hand saying, call your dog. And watch what the dog does. Call your dog. So the dog sat perfectly eventually. Oh my gosh, I just thought that was the funniest thing. Maybe it's just a person who does dog training that think that's funny. Let's watch it again. She sat her dog. Okay, tell your dog to stay and walk away. She says stay. And call your dog. Ah! Oh, and then it sits down perfectly in front of her. Oh my gosh. Now, I laugh because my friend, she like I said, she shows her dogs, and me and my wife can go watch the dog shows, and always, the dog, it's a smart dog, but it always does one little minor thing wrong, and she just often goes, Sonny did this one thing wrong, but that one, oh my gosh, that one is probably the best one. Okay, next one. Oh, now this is an interesting one. Now, yesterday, I'm going to go through some of the replies on this one. This site called Educating Liberals. Hang on here, or the Twitter handle puts out this graphic. Black people make up 13% of our population, but are responsible for 51% of the mass shootings in 2019, 52% of the homicides in America, 37% of the violent crimes, 40% of cop homicides, and 93% of black homicides. But please tell me again how white supremacy is a problem. Now, the problem with everything in this tweet is factual, okay? Depending on what source you use, because the one on mass shootings, it depends on what source you used, because different sources defines mass shooting in different ways. I'm going to grant that. Now, the other statistics are directly from FBI reporting. It is at a time like this, a Twitter handle with a white face isn't going to be accepted for putting out this data, even if it is accurate. The one source that we talked about the other day is probably the same source they use for 51% of the mass shootings, because they define mass shootings as a shooting incident where there are 4 victims or more, whether or not there's a homicide. Now, some mass shooting statistics aggregators use 4 or more, some use 3 or more, some do not include mass shootings that are gang or drug related, because that then is going to, I don't know if that's their motive is to reduce the minority element, because a lot of the mass shootings that are gang or drug related happen to be minorities, and so that might be a way to it's statistical sleight of hand. Okay, you can use statistics to probably prove anything that you want to prove if you just know how to manipulate the data. For example, we went through the ADL study that was saying that all extremist murders in 2018 were right-wing extremists. And then when we went through that report together on my show, we realized they highlighted 17 incidents of total of 50 homicides, which is not even 0.1% of the homicides in the United States. And of the 17 incidents that we looked at, when you think of a right-wing extremist murder, you're thinking an ideological murder. And yet we realized that only 4 of the 17 incidents that they highlighted were ideologically motivated. Okay, yes, they had the people, for example, the couple that killed their son and buried him in the backyard. Okay, that was not an ideologically motivated incident. However, they found out that the guy had once been in a prison gang. When he was in prison, the prison gang was whatever, white supremacists or whatever. The white prison gang, because in some prisons, in order to survive, you have to go assimilate with your own and have some protection. So they call that a right-wing extremist homicide. So that's an example. So you can the ADL fudged their statistics in that one. It's clear. But this is the kind of thing though, you tweet something like this and you're gonna piss some people off. So the first one, you completely made up these statistics. I know, because I know the actual figures. So this guy in particular, I wanted to know, okay, what are the actual figures? Now this lady, Shalom, Abby. Where are the sources to those ridiculous figures? Post sources, thanks. I'll wait. And so table 43 from the FBI, which gives you statistics for crime, and it goes by race. Murder of the total 9,468, black or African American 5,025. Okay, so yes, it is a statistical percent distribution, 53.1%. The funny thing though, the FBI statistics, if you notice here, what's missing from the FBI statistic when they use race? They don't use ethnicity. So so you can't. They have no figure for Hispanic Americans, which I don't care. I mean, but most of the Hispanic Americans end up in the white category. A handful end up in the black category, so that's a fascinating thing. But yeah, so overall, murder 53%, rape, robbery, let's see, aggravated assault, anyway, violent crimes, etc. So there are statistics, and so it's interesting, and it's an unfortunate. It's something that we got to fix. We got to figure out how we're going to fix it. But this chart does not cover mass shooting incidents. Mass shooting incidents are overwhelmingly committed by white males. So they put up the little chart, that the graphic from here. Firearm homicide rates. Okay. So anyway, I mean, but I wish that this is, again, these are just kind of things that inflame more passions. But sometimes you got to hear the truth. And it's not good for us, and I mean us, and as far as black people. But God, then we need to know what we can fix. How are we going to fix it? And it comes down to the city of Baltimore, for example. There have been 300 murders in the city of Baltimore so far this year. What are they doing to help that part of Baltimore? Are they failing their city, or is that something they have to? Where leaders, real leaders, will find a way to change that culture. But no one wants to be a real leader. Everyone wants to point fingers at someone else or do a photo op in front of some microphones, Al Sharpton. But you're not doing anything to actually fix anything. So anyway, yeah, you don't hear about black mass shooters because it's so commonplace. Oh, that's interesting. Did you hear about Brooklyn the day before Gilroy? No, you didn't. Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone wants to jump onto the Black Lives Matter bandwagon, but only when it involves someone who's not black. it's or someone who's not black or someone who wears a badge. That's the only time people care. When are we going to start caring about Black lives for the rest of the Black lives? Now the other thing here is, so if you look at even with that prominence of those incidents compared to the number of people in the United States, as far as a percentage of people in the United States, still pretty small chance that you're going to get murdered. I mean, or have this happen to you. So even the fear mongering that we do for a lot of different things, which is really statistically, I'm not going to say insignificant because it's a problem, but just the people that we're supposed to be scared of these things all the time. It's like in the late 80s and early 90s, all the rage was to talk about missing children, as if because there was some high-profile cases, and it's still high-profile cases. We have the Amber Alerts and things like that now. But I think the fact that we started publicizing missing children so much during that time. I remember there was Johnny Gosh. That was the big one, and Jacob Wetterling. Those were nationwide stories, and so everyone started being aware of missing children. But what also happened is kids stopped. You started noticing that playgrounds were beginning to be empty, and you started having the helicopter parents. I remember when I was a kid, man, in the summer, I would say goodbye to my parents in the morning, and they would see me when the street lights came on. I'd be gone the entire day. They wouldn't know where I was the entire day, unless we had something planned for that day. But in the era of where we had to publish, and part of it was, CNN, the all-day news networks, 24-hour news, what do I say, 24-hour news networks. When you got news 24/7, and with Twitter, you get shit all the time. Every bad thing that happens in the world is front and center every day. Do people realize that most people don't come into contact with this stuff? You're not likely to come. If you just live your life and enjoy your life and try to find beauty in the world, you're probably going to be okay. We get so wrapped up in what the president's doing and who this said this and who did what. When I went on my vacation in California, our drive from Portland down to San Diego and then to Las Vegas, except for the one incident, the car getting broken into, we had a wonderful time. Didn't see, we were in Portland for a couple days, didn't see fights in the streets, it wasn't a hellscape like you'd expect it to be. Went to Los Angeles, went downtown, went to the Walk of Fame, went to the pier, enjoyed our life. Didn't see, we saw some homeless people here and there. In San Francisco, we went to all the touristy things that you do in San Francisco. Didn't have any problems. Went to San Diego, had a great time. Vegas, had a great time. You can, if you just live your life, for the most part, even though we read about the bad things every day, now the big thing is, white supremacists are everywhere. But they're not. They're really not. They have no influence on the world. The president of the United States is not a white supremacist. The president of the United States is not a white nationalist. He's not about to round up any people that are here. Now, granted, they have people who have broken the law in holding facilities in the near the southern border because they broke the law and they're in the country unauthorized. That's the job of the United States. Now, whether you think that the separating of children from the people they came here with, because we already know that at least 30 to 40% of them aren't related to the person they crossed the border with. We found that out. And then another 5,800 of them were unaccompanied, period. So we had to house them somewhere. They're not in cages. Like they like to say, kids in cages. Bullshit. Shut up. But this particular tweet got a lot of people salty. The crime rate is a result of segregation, poverty, and exile. What? Segregation? Who's segregation? Poverty and exile? What the bloody hell are you talking about? America's land of equal opportunity. Tell me why black success stories came from nothing. LeBron James came from nothing. Ben Carson almost killed a kid in his youth, and now is a part-time Trump administration and a world-renowned neurosurgeon. Yeah, I like to tell the story of my grandfather, man. My grandfather and my family that I was adopted into. During the Great Depression, black man gets a law degree, becomes a lawyer. During the Great Depression, I think that's pretty amazing. We always worry about instead of worrying about what might hold you back, why don't we emphasize on the things that are possibilities and what can happen that's good to you if you do the right and good things. If you do the things that it takes to be successful, will you be successful? Most of the time, yeah. You'll be successful at something, and because you have the opportunity to be successful here, as long, doesn't take a whole lot. Finish high school. Don't have children before you get a job. Before you're married, before you're ready to. Generally, if you get married, that usually is an indicator of the success you're going to have and the success of your children, too. Because children from two-parent families do better. Now, notice I just said 2-parent families. Now, I could say the mom and a dad, but I'm not even sure that, the children from families that are non-traditional families also tend to do well when there's 2 parents, whether or not it's mommy and daddy. But we know that statistically, yeah, that's how people are successful. So if someone could give me the sources to verify this, that it would be great. This guy says davidduke.com. Sorry, dude. No, it's the FBI. I should just retweet that. Here, let me see here. Link to this. Oh, I can't. How do you? They used to be. Oh, you know what it is? They used to be able to link the tweet. Now you got to go into the tweet. Now you got to copy it here. See, when they change all this crap on Twitter, I'll just put it up here. Here, copy. Just for that guy, I'm going to help him out. Here you go. Link to the tweet. That's replies. Oh, nope. Someone did it already. Good. There you go. Now, let's see what he takes with this. So the FBI is run by David Duke? No, people with low reading comprehension skills are just calculating the math from the FBI on partial data and spreading misinformation. Really? So this one says the documented murder total is not the same as the arrest totals, and the two should not be confused. The total documented murders in America in 2017 is 17,284. 17,284 murders. So why are white supremacists using the math above to make a false claim? Nowhere in the crime data does it state that blacks are responsible for 53% of murders in America. As you can see, white supremacists have misrepresented what the data says. Further research is found in the expanded homicide data, Table 3. The table shows that in 2017, murders by offenders by age, sex, race, and ethnicity were a total of 17,284 reported murder and non-negligent manslaughter cases in the U.S. in 2017. 66,444 of the offenders were black, 5,125 were white, 314 were other and unknown, 5,368 of the murder offenders were unknown, meaning whites represented 29%, blacks represented 37%. Is that a lot better? It's better than 53%, but 37%. Like the rent guy says, that's too fucking high. The rent is too fucking high. Remember that, dude? That was a meme from the back in the day. The rent is too fucking high. 1.8% of the murder offenders are unknown, and 31% are unknown. So why are representatives going on? It's not lying. It's this. It's literally. Okay, I wish you could click that. So it's only 37%. Only 37.8% or 37. What did you say? Hang on, I'm gonna delete it anyway. Oh, it's only 37%. That's a lot better. Oh, and then per capita. You know what? If it's per capita. Okay, this is this is somebody who doesn't know how to do math. I'm not even going to read that. It's silly. It's silly. Yeah. Oh, 37%. That's a lot better. We're 12.6% of the population. And about half of that are males, who commit most of them. So, yeah, that's funny. No, people low calculating. Yeah, and the other thing though is, again, Hispanics are lumped in with whites on that too. So yeah, I don't need to necessarily argue facts, but Jesus Christ, some people. it's a hard fact to read. I don't like that fact. I wish there was something I could do about that fact. I wish we could change culture so that is not part of our culture that we kill each other. But oh yes, now let's move on because this is hilarious. This is the front runner to the Democratic nomination for the President of the United States. I'm sure some of you have seen this. This is gafftastic. Make sure I got the sound way up on this. Listen to this. This is the leading candidate for the President of the United States from the Democratic Party talking to the Asian and Latino Coalition PAC while in the state of Iowa. Listen up.
And the other thing we should do is we should challenge these students. We should challenge students in these schools to have advanced placement programs in these schools. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Whoa. What did he just say? Wait, what did he just say?
Do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
What? Wait, hold on. What? Wait, he could not have just said that.
You cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Oh my!
Wealthy kids, black kids.
And these people are clapping because they didn't realize what. He tried to save himself. Listen to this. He tried to catch himself.
You cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids.
Oh, he had to fix that. He's like, he knew what he said too. He knew what he said he knew what he said. Poor kids are just as bright and as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids. But here's the thing. And that's the part most people are pissed off about, and or not pissed off, but just giving Joe some hell about because, saying, he's just as racist as everybody else. But here's the part that made me a little more annoyed is listen to what he says at the beginning of this, because this is fascinating. All right, listen to this.
And the other thing we should do is we should challenge these students. We should challenge students in these schools to have advanced placement programs in these schools. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor...
Okay. Now, I agree with him the first part of that sentence about we should challenge these kids. Okay? But his premise here is that the reason certain populations of kids are not achieving is because we're not challenging them. And that's the problem I have. Oh, we have advanced placement programs. Well, advanced placement is for the kids who are challenging themselves. Advanced placement programs are for the kids who have achieved and who desire to achieve. Okay, so they work hard, they get good grades, and they I have this opportunity to get some college credits here using advanced placement or AP courses, whatever, college, school, different, whatever they call it where you live. But that's not the problem. That it's not the schools, and I'm telling you, they say, these schools in this part of town are terrible. No, they're not. The schools have opportunities for people who want to achieve. And the harder part is not to challenge them academically, it's to challenge them to understand that by achieving now, you will get paid later. That's the challenge. That there is a value in education. And if you constantly tell kids, well, you're not gonna go anywhere because white man's gonna hold you down anyway. Okay? Or you don't have any respect for any authority whatsoever, so obeying your teacher, fuck that teacher, right? Or if you do something wrong and you get kicked out of school and your parents come down there blaming the school for what, regardless of what you did. Okay, no, we've got to change the culture in places where the schools aren't failing, the kids are failing, the parents are failing, the people teaching these people the value of what they're learning are failing. You got to be able to tell people that yes, you do this and you will be more successful when you get out of here. And that no matter what people say to you or no matter what people do to you, if you do what you do well, they can't stop you. Okay? And that was something that was grilled into my head by my grandmother, man. My grandmother was like, before I even went to school, my grandmother was like, no, you need to be the best that you can be at all times, because someday you're going to know that if you do that, you'll have some successes. You'll be able to buy your own ice cream, right? And that's the problem. And what she was also adamant about, no matter what anyone says to you, no matter what anybody tells you, you can achieve. You can't. You have opportunities. And I think part of it is because my grandmother, married to my grandfather, the lawyer who got his law degree during the Great Depression, and my grandmother who had a master's degree and was teaching English in the public schools and then at a university during the summer. They did. You think they went through any circumstances worse than I did? Of course they did. You know, my grandfather, or excuse me, my grandmother's parents were in St. Louis, which was still pretty segregated. It was, well, everything was segregated then, but not forced segregated. But my mother, when she went to college in Memphis, Tennessee, they still had the segregated buses where the black people had to sit on the back of the bus. That's how close that was to go. So I didn't go through anything like that. And kids now don't go through anything like that. They don't have to, they're no separate but equal now. You have the opportunities. And even in the worst schools, I'll tell you what, I say it all the time. The test to see if the school is really bad, okay? If not one single person went to college from that school, then you tell me that school is bad. But if you have one kid, or if you have any kids that go to that school that got into a good college, then shut the fuck up, because the opportunity is there. Okay, it's not the school. It's the individual kids who need the inspiration to do well, the inspiration to understand that, yes, this will lead to a bigger thing. And that's the problem. Hard to achieve if you get made fun of. When you do well in school, you get accused of acting white. Yeah, I did. I sure as hell did. Now, interesting though, that didn't, for me, so I was one of 4 kids in my elementary school who was black. I was one of 4 black kids because my parents moved and they built their own neighborhood. I'll read that story. I'll tell you the story about my parents, how they overcame the so-called redlining problem that used to be prevalent. That is not even, it's unheard of now. People talk about redlining all the time as if it still is a major factor in anything, which is not. I was in the mortgage business. I know a lot about housing that people talk bullshit about. But anyway, I was one of 4 black kids in my school when I went there, my elementary school, when I was in kindergarten. Myself, my sister, and then the 2 girls who lived on the street. One was my age and one was 1 year younger than my sister. And all of our last name was the same. We were all Johnson. And everyone in that school thought we were all related. They thought all 4 of us were related. But no, I was my sister, me and my sister, and then the other girl and her sister. And it's funny, I never had that problem until I got to middle school. Because in middle school, we had busing. Or junior high, we called it in Omaha. We had busing. And so I I was still out in the western part of Omaha at the school, but then they had a bunch of kids from North Omaha bus to the schools, a bunch of black kids. And because I grew up in that neighborhood from 5 years old on, although we had a mixed neighborhood. Now I'll have to tell you the story about my neighborhood. We did have a mixed neighborhood, and eventually some other black kids moved in, and so I wasn't the only black kid. By sixth grade, there are probably 20 black kids in my school, not just me. But anyway, I'm just glad you're not even Richard. I don't know who Richard Johnson is. But then I got to middle school, and so the black kids from North Omaha were in my middle school. And because I grew up around mostly white kids, I talked different than most of the kids from North Omaha. And I was one of the best students in the school. That was always me. And it's funny because I was one of the best students in the school. I was a very smart kid when I was young. In fact, I didn't get my first B until my junior year in high school. I had straight A's all the way up until my junior year in high school. But that's when people used to say, "Oh, you talk like you're white, you Uncle Tom, this and that." These are middle school kids saying this stuff. But I got the brunt of it for both the white kids and the black. Not many of the white kids. Most of the white kids just like, "Oh, that's just Marty," right? But there were some of those back then. This is in the 70s. There were still some very, very, just virulently racist people. There was this family, and most of the kids in my neighborhood, we were all tight. We were all friends. We played football and baseball every day. But there's kids from a neighborhood like about a mile off. No, I didn't. Everyone knows what my name is. My name is Marty Johnson. Everyone knows my name. No, I didn't dox myself. I'm fully, in fact, my other channel, I use my whole name. So no, I did not dox myself. So that's okay. Don't worry about it. Thanks, Pete. I appreciate it. I was very aware of that. Oh, Dick Johnson. That's funny. No, I didn't dox myself. Everyone, most people already know my name. I have a video telling you on this channel what my name is. So anyway, where was I? Oh, but there were some virulently racist people during that time, and there's these one family of kids that had no problem calling me, nigger this, nigger that. And we often had fights with those kids. In fact, my neighbors, who my best friend was part of this, was in a family with, there were 4 boys and a girl in the family, and the 2 younger boys, one was my age, one was a year older, and then they had 2 older brothers and a sister who was younger than us. And the youngest boy was my best friend. We were the same age. They were a boxing family. Not very small people. I was giant compared to them. I was bigger than the oldest brother, even growing up. But they were a boxing family. So they were in Golden Gloves and things like that. And this other family that used to give me shit. One time they started going at me on the bus, and the sister in this family spit on me, and I was gonna punch her in the mouth, and the other boys threatened me. And my neighbor friends, the kid my age, the kid older, and then the third one were all there, and they told these guys to get the hell out of there. They're going to beat their ass. The guys went to fight him, and they did. They just beat the shit out of him, and they never bothered me again. So that's an interesting story. But anyway, but the kids in middle school, yeah, there was a lot of kids who were like, you're just trying to be white. You're trying to be white. I said, no, I'm not. I don't have to be. I'm not trying to. I go to a black church. I go to a black piano teacher. Our veterinarian is black. The people who take care of my dogs are black. I'm not trying to be white. I'm just smart. And I think I said this in middle school. I said, when we're all done with this school thing, I might even give you a job. So anyway. All right. Long yet extremely snarky headline. Passive aggressive much. Which one? I'm not sure what that means. All right. I really went too long into that story, just realizing how late it is. So we're gonna let's just check. That is my last my last bookmark of the day. So let's just do a quick run through Twitter trends, see what's happening in the world, see what people are talking about. If there's anything that's exciting. Winter Bear. I don't know what that is. Oh, BTS fans. That BTS is one of those K-pop bands. I am not even going to click that one today. Book Lovers Day. National Book Lovers Day. That's a good one. If you have a favorite book that you can think of, pop it in the chat. I can't think of my favorite books right off the top of my head. But anyway, enjoy a book today. Moving on. Friday thoughts, Friday feelings. Let's find one good Friday thought for the day. Oh my goodness, everything was going so well. Then the trainee dropped the screw box. Ooh. I don't want that to be my Friday thought though, but have you ever had that? I got one of those boxes like that too, and I've dropped them and you're just like, oh shit. All right, let's see. Supreme God, 24 mass shootings occurring. Oh, wow, this is a Friday thought. 24 mass shootings occurred during this man's administration. Did anyone blame him? No, they didn't. But, and they say, oh, yeah, they're up. Mass shootings are up. No, they're not. Actually, believe it or not, even though the crime statistics were there on the screen, violent crime is down. Violent crime has been going down for many years. And it actually went down during the Obama administration, too. I'm not saying it's been steadily going down for about 10 years now, which is a good thing, even though there has been an uptick years here and there. But you know what? Anyway, I don't know if that's a good Friday thought. I'm going to skip Friday thoughts. I'm going to forget the Friday thoughts and Friday feelings. Rick Ross is trending. He's dropped a new album. If you're familiar with Rick Ross, if you're a Rick Ross fan. Sean Astin. Oh, the Goonies are trending. Why are the Goonies trending? They're not going to remake the Goonies, are they? Interview. Take a trip down memory lane with Goonies, Lord of the Rings, and Stranger Things star Sean Astin. Why is Sean Astin trending? Okay, it's not because he's dead. I'm sorry, Sean Astin didn't get through the booby trap series of cave tunnels to steal One-Eyed Willie's treasures to save his house in town to be known as Sean Astin from Stranger Things. Y'all, I'm done. Oh, because he's in Stranger Things. Is that why is Sean Astin trending? He deserved a goddamn Oscar for Lord of the Rings. Okay. For every generation, there's a hero, and he's one of them. I don't know why he's trending. Oh, apparently it's Sean Astin Appreciation Day just because. Okay. Never heard. Okay, cool. That's why Sean Astin's trending. All right. Hot. Oh, Pusha T. Did Pusha T put out an album? Or is he on Rick Ross's album? For those wondering, here's Pusha T's version on My Back Music 5. I don't know. Oh, they left off something. Okay, I don't know. I don't follow Pusha T either. Don't care. Hot Girl Summer. Okay, Megan Thee Stallion drops a new Hot Girl Summer featuring Nicki Minaj. See, now that's not what I was thinking when I would hear Hot Girl Summer. Oh wait, I better not scroll through that one. That could be dangerous. Oh God, Michael Brown is trending. August 19, 2014. Rest in peace, Mike Brown, Ferguson, where I grew up. Yeah. 5 years after Michael Brown shooting, slow signs of progress. It's 5 years since Mike Brown changed the world forever. 5 years since he changed me forever. Yeah, the hands up don't shoot lie. You know what? I don't. I feel bad for Mike Brown that he had the mindset that go attack the police officer, and he's dead because of that mindset of lack of respect for any kind of authority in certain communities, and that is in his case it became deadly. And but we all know the hands up don't shoot lie. There were enough witnesses to say that this was You know, and it's a tragedy in the actions and reactions, but and it also reminds me that we always forget about we think some Black Lives Matter depending on the circumstances. I wish that all Black lives mattered as much, and maybe we could find a solution so that we stop losing people to homicide and maybe fix some communities. All right, enough about Mike Brown. Missouri Walmart. Oh yeah, an armed man, well, with body armor. Now that's a new part of the story. There was an armed man detained in Walmart. Shannon Watts, 5 days after a white supremacist opened fire at a Texas Walmart, a 20-year-old white man was arrested at a Missouri Walmart with a loaded rifle, tactical gear, and more than 100 rounds of ammo. Missouri law allows open carry, so does Walmart policy. You know what? So this guy was carrying weapons, taking pictures of video of people running in terror while people saw him. Okay, we'll get deeper into that story later. They'll be talking about that today. I heard about that one last night. Good Friday. What? What Good Friday? Good Friday to you all. Oh, okay. Who cares? Another Friday one. All right. Anything else in here interesting? Rock is Modern Knife. Call me strange, but... All right. That's it for Twitter Trends. I got to get out of here, people. Went way, way over. And I know that some of you guys got things to do. Besides, we got it. Blind Press comes on in about 8 minutes. If you know, if you ever listen to her show, it's pretty good. And I got to go, you know. Thanks for being here today. I really appreciate you guys. You know, we're here every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. GMT for those people in other parts of the world. And before you go, if you haven't done so already, hit the share button, hit the like button, and just remember that we always do take donations and super chats through the Streamlabs link in the description down below. Thank you all for being here. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I may do an impromptu stream this weekend. Who knows? We're doing a celebration for my father-in-law of just celebrating his life. He's in hospice care right now, and we're not... we haven't lost him yet, but we don't know how much longer he's going to be with us. So we're getting some family together and celebrating him while he's still with us. And so that's going to be our celebration tomorrow. I may do an impromptu live stream on Sunday. We'll see what happens, but hopefully I'll finish up the video that I'm working on and we'll get that out. So everybody have a great weekend. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Dawg Knight, and I am out of here. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and I want to thank you for joining me today on the Dawg Knight channel. Before you go, if you like what you saw and you're not already subscribed, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below, and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and 2 p.m. GMT. A special thanks to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through our Streamlabs link in the description below. Thanks again, and until next time, I am Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.